why our brains are wired for this short-term reward way of thinking, why rest isn't laziness but necessary, why work-life balance is actually an investment in your future, and how to think in decades instead of just days. So let's look at why we struggle with this work-life balance, right? Our brains really evolved to prioritize imminent reward. We naturally choose answering emails instead of going for a walk, working late instead of seeing friends, scrolling instead of resting, productivity instead of recovery, because immediate reward feels tangible, but the costs are often invisible at first. The consequences accumulate slowly over time. The chronic stress leads to burnout, poor relationships, loneliness, reduced creativity, lower energy, and decline physical health over time. So we often overestimate what we can achieve in a day and underestimate what we can achieve in 10 years through small, consistent actions and changes. So let's look at this short-term thinking versus long-term thinking, because I think that's really important to address to understand this underlying problem of how we're structuring work-life balance. Short-term thinking sounds a bit like, I'll skip exercise this week, I'll work for lunch, I'll cancel seeing friends, I'll sleep less to get more done. Nothing catastrophic really happens immediately, right? But repeated thousands of times, this becomes a real problem. Long-term thinking instead asks, what type of person am I becoming? What will the decision cost me in 5 years if I skip lunch today, if I don't go to bed on time? And what habits am I investing in? Yeah. So a useful analogy could be, imagine your well-being as a bank account. Every day you either make deposits through sleep, nature, social connection, exercise, rest, meaningful flow activities such as sport, or you make withdrawals, which is overworking, chronic stress, isolation, excessive screen time, and neglecting your needs. Many people are unknowingly living in this emotional overdraft for so long until they finally burn out and collapse. So this is why we're going to look at why recharging is actually essential and not an optional thing that you maybe want to do. This is a really important point because we often treat recovery as something that we have to earn. I'll rest once everything else is done, but life is never done. Your task list is never done. Recharging time is not a reward. It's the fuel you need to actually keep going. Yeah. So we sleep because that's how the body and brain restore and integrate new things. And if we don't do that, we can't function. So let's look at some of the benefit of regular recovery. It really improves creativity, decision making, emotional regulation, patience, your overall relationship, your focus, your productivity, and of course your physical health, which is the one we are all quite familiar with.